is going on, guys? This is Caleb from Big Blue Amusement Productions here, and welcome to a new video. In today's video, I will be reviewing the one and only Fury 325 at Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina. This coaster opened in 2015 as the world's tallest and fastest giga coaster, and today it holds the North American steel coaster record, as well as the tallest coaster with a lift hill. It unfortunately lost the giga height record to Red Force at Portaventura in Spain in 2017. Fury 325 has been on my bucket list since it first opened back in 2015. I remember being so fascinated by the coaster, and I remember telling all my friends in school about this ride and my desire to ride it one day. I also remember hearing and being known about the Kings Island Giga Coaster talk, and I remember making up my own idea for Kings Island. Yeah, look at these. Look at these. Yeah. This was before Mystic Timbers, and I didn't really know much about that area of the park and logistics, so you can laugh at it all you want. So I based it off Fury, and I basically had it take all the records, and the name I had for this coaster was Savage 395. Yeah, I know, I was over 100 feet off, but like I've said many times before, Orion is a great ride. Now, let's go back to Fury. I had the chance to ride it back in August of 2021 when I was on a South Carolina beach vacation with my dad and his fiancée and her kids. Let me say, the days leading up to my first ride, though, were exciting as well as nerve-wracking a little bit. A few days before I went, a huge storm went through the park, and the ride ended up supposedly getting struck by lightning in that storm, so it was actually closed the entire day after the storm. Then, like a day or two before I went, the coaster didn't open on time, but it finally reopened that day. Let me say, it got me worried that the coaster would close again and be closed the entire day I was there. You know, that would have sucked. On the drive there, which was like a 4-hour drive from where I was staying, it ended up being more than that, since we had to stop multiple times for potty breaks and stuff, but I was literally in the car gluing my head to the Fury 325 webcam on Carowinds' website, watching for action around the coaster. I was relieved and excited when I saw it test and cycle and then eventually open. So we arrived at the park past opening and I went in and got my fast lane pass and went straight to Fury and walked on the back row.
Dudes, I just did Fury 325! Holy crap, that was amazing! Back row, dudes, the Treble Clef, that is it! The Treble Clef! Oh my gosh! The airtime! That was amazing airtime! And one thing just right, you do not notice the difference between the height of this and Orion. I don't know why. Looking over, I thought I would notice a big difference. I did not notice it as much as I thought I would. But this is definitely a top 3 coaster for me. I don't know if it beats out Steel Vengeance. It may not beat out Maverick. I don't know. I'm going to have to ride it more times. And it was kind of running a little slow, so it should speed up a little bit. So, man, Fury, thumbs up from me. 6 years waiting, checked off the bucket list.
After my first ride, even if I seemed very shocked, let me say, I thought the ride was a little slow, but that was because it was early in the day, so I knew it would get better. I got a total of 18 rides on Fury 325 the day I went. If I had one complaint, though, it was that they were only running 2 trains on the ride that day, and there was actually a time during the day they took off a train and ran only 1 train, and that caused the line to back up pretty much all the way to the entrance. I had fast lane, though, but a lot of people but you basically had to wait 1 train in that line. Here's the thing for me. As someone who has Kings Island as my home park and knows the standards on operation at the park, and since I'm a ride operator at Kings Island myself, I have seen better. And at Kings Island, even if the park is dead like Carowinds was that day, the Carowinds was dead that day. Orion, Diamondback, and all the major coasters typically run all 3 trains regardless of the crowd. I'm not knocking on the operators. I think they did a great job that day with what they did. But I definitely believe I would have gotten more rides on Fury if they would have run all 3 trains that day. Don't get me wrong, I am happy that I got 18 rides on it that day. There are some people who are lucky they only get 1 ride on it. But I just feel that I would have gotten a lot more if all 3 trains were running. Now, let's get back into the ride experience. So first, you leave the station, and you go on this long section, which is where the transfer track is. This is a contrast to Orion, where the transfer is actually on the brake run before the station. Then you go up this massive 325-foot lift hill, and yes, it is, again, massive. You can basically see it everywhere. If you look to your left going up the lift, you can see the city of Charlotte to your left in the distance. And if you look to your right, you can see the rest of the park start to fade away from you as you climb higher and higher. As you go up, there is some hornet buzzing noises connected to the theme and safety spiel being played, telling you to keep your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the ride at all times. Then you crest that 325-foot peak and face down this 320-foot drop. This drop basically lasts forever. You are falling for eternity. I will say, for those wondering the difference between this and Orion's drop, the drops feel the exact same. Yes, I said it. Yeah, the pullout on Fury is a little longer, but you don't really notice a difference between Fury and Orion's drop. If you've ridden Orion, you've basically experienced Fury's first drop. Then you go up into this overbank turn that gives you some nice forces. Then, after that overbank turn, you dive down where your on-ride photo is taken, then you go up into this next turn to your right, and it gives you some nice whip into that turn. Then you fly over the front gate on that turn, and then you go into my favorite element on Fury, the Treble Clef. Wow. What can I say about this element? You twist up and get some outstanding airtime at the top. Then you dive down into the tunnel where you have some hexagon LED lights underneath there. Now basically this Treble Clef element basically reminds me of Orion's last element before the break, that twisted airtime hill on Orion, but much bigger. Then after that drop into the tunnel, you go up into another turn and go on this little straight piece before going up on this camelback hill. That does have a trim brake on it, though. The trim brake doesn't really kill too much of the airtime, but it does kill the momentum a little. Then you go down into this very long and drawn-out helix that unfortunately is my least favorite part of the ride, but it's actually needed, in my opinion, to burn off the speed level, so I understand why it's there. But on this helix, you have this one support that is a great near miss. You literally come so close to it that basically makes it look like you can reach out and touch it. You get so close. I saw people on the coaster literally put their hands out, try to touch it. But the coaster is designed so you can't touch it. So if you're worried about that, you won't be able to touch it. You'll be fine. Then you have these last 2 bunny hop hills, which in my opinion give some great pops of airtime. The airtime on those are actually pretty strong. Then you get one last pop into the brake run. This brake run, like the other B&M gigas, are long, but this one isn't as tall as Orion or Leviathan's. I believe I heard the reason for this is that because of the longer track length, it wouldn't have caused as much stress on the brakes going with it at its speed. Orion and Leviathan, you are basically traveling into those brakes at a faster pace because the layout is shorter. After that, your experience is over, and let me say, Fury does live up to its hype. What I love about Fury, unlike Orion, it stays much lower to the ground. B&M absolutely nailed it with this one, and it's sort of a shame that Kings Island didn't do a Fury-like layout with these low-to-the-ground elements with Orion, while Orion's more higher up off the ground. And this type of layout would have separated it from Diamondback a lot more than what Orion currently does. Like, Fury basically separates itself from Intimidator. 6 years of waiting, this ride was well worth the wait, and I highly, highly recommend people experience this coaster and this park too. Carowinds was a great place. This coaster absolutely dominates the skyline of Carowinds, and you can see it from all over the place, like miles away. For Fury 325's final score, of course I will 100% giving it a 10. Fury 325 is a masterpiece, and I am really hoping that Knott's Giga gets approved, as that layout looks to be actually on the level of Fury. I'm not going to share it because it could be inside information, but and I don't like sharing stuff that hasn't really been announced. So I'm not going to be sharing the Knott's Giga layout, but I will say that it does look to be, the layout does look a little bit on the level of Fury, so it'll probably rival Fury in my opinion. So that'll wrap up my review of Fury 325, the B&M Giga Coaster at Carowinds. Post in the comments below if you've ridden this, and if it is one of your favorite coasters, or it is your favorite coaster period. Of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so you don't miss any new content that I come out with. I will see you guys all later.